to find out what has happened to Senegal, my big brother. I understand they are a GEW country, but is there any reason why they're not here for this week? And secondly, the question about Côte d'Ivoire. Côte d'Ivoire's entrepreneurship ecosystem is also very strong. I think we should look into that separately.
As far as Senegal, they've been to the Congress a few years in the past, and they had done GEW for about 2.5 years, but last year just kind of went missing in action. As far as I know, there were no activities, they didn't do anything for GEW, and they just decided not to participate anymore. So if you have any contacts in Senegal, let me know, and we can find a new host there.
Yeah, of course, yes. Okay.
Thank you very much. Of course, I have to say this. It could be that they lost their group hub connection or their email connection. No, okay. We've tried phone too. But every now and again, that's why I do stress that internal communication. You'll know that, you know, we now, the other thing, by the way, that I want to make sure I've mentioned is we want to make sure that we have a cell phone number for one person on all of your teams, that if we need to reach you in an emergency, every now and again we have a last-minute VIP that's going to drop into your country, and we want to know whether or not you want to see them. We had this the other week with Carl Schramm, and he was going to be unexpectedly in Morocco, and we just couldn't find a way of reaching the team in Morocco. So I want to stress, if you're comfortable with it, please make sure that Brendan has your cell phone. So we will be very respectful of using that only in circumstances where we feel like you would want to hear from us, okay? Thank you.
Hello, this is Rawand from Jordan. So the very famous neighbor we have in Jordan is Palestine, as you know, actually. You know, actually, that there is a conflict there in Palestine, but I'll try to have a contact there and to have GEW there, maybe through the US Embassy, maybe through anything, because I believe that there are so many entrepreneurs and active youth there.
Great.
So it's Jordan responsibility, I guess, because we are so near to. Yeah.
Thank you. Anyone else after Aya? Then we could take a mic down there. Yeah.
This is Ella Matalan from Israel. I have here a report that was done after our event in Nazareth. We held a few events within the Arab community, and we are planning to do things together with the Arabic community in the West Bank, and we would love to work side in side together with Jordan to promote this activity.
Thank you. From Romania, thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Basically, I'm going in 2 weeks' time in Pristina, Kosovo. They have been quite active with the help of several donors in promoting entrepreneurship. Mark Nagar actually had an event at the Startup Weekend last fall in Kosovo, and I was wondering if I should actually try to use some of the time that I'm spending there to actually promote that in Kosovo, if you don't already have a connection with the guys organizing the Startup Weekend, or with the Norwegian support for their incubation system that they want to build there. So just an offer for doing some network there. Yeah, okay, thank you.
Great. I want to make sure I underscore 3 times the importance of the Startup Weekend network. You'll hear a lot about Startup Weekend being a 54-hour boot camp that produces companies on Monday morning. And it's phenomenal. And if you haven't read the Startup Weekend book, the only thing we regret about not bringing, you know, we brought with us for you the impact report, the host guide, and we brought with you the Innovations Journal collection of essays, which we've had a lot of positive feedback. Did everybody get all of those things? Okay, you should have had them in your bags. The one thing I wish I brought you all is a copy of the Startup Weekend book, and I have to tell you, it's a very quick read, but as far as instruction as to, or sorry, creative ideas as to how to mobilize communities of startup junkies, this is the way to do it. So one of the things I wanted to mention is that we will be bringing back Mark Nagar and Nick Seguin, not to talk about Startup Weekend, but to talk to you about their insights, that if they were in your shoes trying to mobilize a campaign, because you know what, those guys had never printed a thing in their life, and yet their marketing networking is unbelievable. Their ability to channel and viral market virtually is just unbeaten as far as I'm concerned. So we hope that'll be useful to you, and I want to make sure that you don't You know that later this morning, before we adjourn for lunch, we're going to have them up here on stage, and we're going to make sure you have some time to be able to probe them about, okay, how do you go to scale? How is it that you make sure that very, very quickly one organizer puts together a startup weekend in Toronto, and there's 200 people on a waiting list? So I want to mention that in follow-up to that comment. And do use the Startup Weekend Network. Those guys are completely open source. They don't mind. They'll love to work with you in helping our networks collaborate. And actually, Mark and I are talking about for Rio with Giuliano, bringing actually potentially all the Startup Weekend organizers potentially to Brazil. So we may look to even more collaboration in, shall I say, merging our networks and helping bring you stronger and deeper communities of people to reach out to the rest of your public. Sorry for the interruption, but I wanted to go ahead.
Hi, I'm Ljubcha from Macedonia. So I would like just to add something to the guy who already offered to help to those guys in Kosovo. Basically, we did organize 2 startup weekends last year in Macedonia, and also help to initiate the startup weekend in Kosovo. We are also connected with the Norwegians, so maybe we could jointly help them to launch the Global Entrepreneurship Week there. Thank you.
Great. Did you get that? Any more before we move on? Well, I think we got at least seeds planted for adding on at least another dozen nations into Global Entrepreneurship Week, and I want to thank you for that. Again, we want you to have some sense of ownership. Make us do the work. I mean, Brendan's there to say, here's what's involved in being a host. He's there to be the bad cop. You can be the good cop. If it's not a good fit, he'll be the one that delivers that news. We can also take care of any of the follow-up. So consider us to be your team. You're our board, and you're making the introduction for us. And we are very, very grateful for you thinking with us on this. And if anybody else wants to see us privately afterwards, we would welcome that. I know Brendan would very much appreciate that. We're going to cover a couple more things, but I want to stress that this afternoon we have very little on the agenda deliberately. So I want you to write down things. We're not going to have you out of here late because we want to give you plenty of downtime before we go out tonight. But I did want to make sure that you know that please make a note of things. We are going to have an open forum, and we are going to have open breakout groups occurring where we can once again delve into some issues that you think you want to capitalize on the fact that you're face-to-face just once a year. This is your last afternoon you're face-to-face. So I urge you to leave your email alone for one more day. This is your chance to see all of your colleagues from around the world. So make sure, and if you haven't met someone here, please use our speed networking, shall I say, courage and confidence, and just walk up and say, by the way, I haven't met you. Where are you from? Okay, and let's just have a rule, house rule here, that it's not goofy to do that during the certainly the second day of Global Entrepreneurship Congress. Okay, so I'm going to ask Brendan to ping out a couple of questions here because we wanted to, sorry? Yeah, no, sure, yeah, we're gonna have Brendan and Mark stay up here. Aaron's gonna step off for 1 second. We'd like to just have Brendan follow up on what I was talking about associated with global communications and get a sense. As I said, there are a couple of instances where we feel like we can't reach you. I will tell you there was one person, I'm not going to tell you who it was, but there's one person who showed up at the Congress that we have not been able to hear from since last November. Last October, actually. We've had no response to phone calls, emails, phone calls, and of course, no participation in Group Hub. And that never upsets us because we recognize that we are being very unfair in asking all of you to speak in English and asking you to use what we hope is the best common mediums of communications from a cultural perspective, which is to be sort of open and direct. And I know in many cultures, this isn't the way you interface with people. So, but we have to say when we're trying to do something global, it's extremely important that Brendan hears from you. And so I wanted to give him a chance to just comment briefly about that.
So I'm going to end up sounding like a broken record because I'm going to talk about Group Hub, the host dashboard, and more importantly, emailing me every last bit of information you possibly have about your campaigns. Jonathan kindly complimented my 100% efficiency rating. I would prefer that to go down to 90% if you guys send me every last bit of information. When I show up into the office in the morning and there's 100, 200 emails, could be all from the same person, but a whole bunch of pictures or little quips about what happened in their campaign or what's happening, that's a good day for me. I'm not going to get to all the 200 emails, but at least I know what's happening in your country. But we'll start with the host dashboard. There are mainly 3 places that we go to for any information about all of your guys' campaigns. It's my inbox, the host dashboard, and Group Hub. The host dashboard is obviously, it has a few issues, but it is the main thing that connects your campaigns and your websites to unleashingideas.org. So everybody's seen this login page. It's basically where you go to enter the host dashboard. If you forget your password, if you forget how to log in, contact Saeed. He has all the information. Let me know. I can connect you with Saeed. We want to make sure everybody, at least when we get to September, October, November, is using the host dashboard to put the appropriate information onto unleashingideas.org so that people know what's happening in your campaigns. The host dashboard shows your contact information. It shows the top 3 activities, and it also shows the number of activities, partners, and participants that occur in your country. I can't reiterate enough the importance of the help and information section. If you haven't been through the host dashboard or if you're just confused at a certain aspect, the amount of time Saeed's put into making YouTube videos, going through and making sure every last question is hopefully answered in advance is insane. There are YouTube videos on how to convert your Excel spreadsheets so that they actually work with the host dashboard. There's YouTube videos on just entering information in. Anything you have, any question you have about the host dashboard, let us know, and we want to make it as easy to use for you guys as we possibly can. So right on the front page, there's those 4 top buttons. They're the 4 important top buttons. Uploading your spreadsheet, which is the activities, the participants and the partners. Editing your host profile, which is all the information that goes straight onto your country page. So Jonathan reiterated a few times to update the contact information so that when we send the US embassies or we send an organization in Cameroon to learn about the campaign, they go right to the front page of the Cameroon page and see, Gilly's my contact. This is the organization that's running the campaign, and this is the website where the GEW Cameroon can be read about in French, or essentially his country page. So this is what the country information page looks like.